Hello, my name is Alex MacDonald, and I'm recording this video because I want to share with you my review of COVID-19. I actually didn't know very many people that had ever contracted the virus. I had a friend that was a coworker at work who had contracted it, and other than him and my friend Brian Lindbergh, who had a real tough battle with it, I didn't know anybody that had it, and somehow I contracted the virus myself. And so I want to tell you guys my experience with that. And I think one reason I want to do this is because a lot of people I know don't know anybody that's had it. So I want you to know the experience that I had to document that. And something that I understand is that everyone seems to get it and their symptoms are different. So this is just another case study, I guess, that'll be available as a video on YouTube. And also, I wanted to share just because it's kind of interesting what I experienced. So it was Friday on, I guess, November 13th, and I started feeling quite sick. And I took my temperature that morning, and my thermometer at home said 100.4. So I'm like, okay, I have fever. I can't really call in. I'm gonna go to work and get my temperature taken and get sent home. That way I won't get any points or anything like that. So I get to work, they put the temperature check around my head, and it was 97.9, like it always is. So there was obviously not accurate on their thermometer. And so the entire day I worked, I think I worked 8 hours that day. I was just feeling sick, just feeling tired and feeling exhausted really. And that night I was scheduled to go to a mid-chapter meeting with Fight Club, and we were fasting that day, and we would break that fast together over a campfire, cooking some steak. And so I think that increased the way that I felt. Like it made me feel even more sick, even more weak. And so all day at work, I'm fasting, I'm doing the best job that I can, but I felt like really irritable. I felt really kind of aggressive, but exhausted at the same time. Like everything was annoying me. Everything was just getting on my nerves. Like my prefrontal cortex was just like shut down or something. So I get home and I'm like, this is just from fasting. I'll be okay. I'll get rid of the fever, and I'm just gonna go to sleep, and hopefully I'll be able to go tonight. So I go to sleep for a few hours. I wake up, still have a fever, still feel really sick. So I let my friends know, hey, I'm not gonna be able to make it tonight. I'm really sorry. I wish I could have. And so I go back to sleep. I wake up at about 8:30. I decide I'm gonna cook the steak. I'm gonna break the fast. So I cooked it. I ate, and like I could barely sit up in my chair to eat the food. And I finished the steak and I go back to bed. And then Saturday I wake up still feeling really sick, still had a fever. And so for 11 days I had a fever of over 100 degrees. And it was kind of weird because I would go from being super cold and like chills, like I can't get warm, got 3 blankets on me, got sweats, got wool socks on, got shirt on, got a hoodie on, and I just couldn't get warm. And then all of a sudden I just start sweating. I take off the hoodie, take off the socks, take off 2 blankets, and I would just be drenched in sweat. And so for like 5 or 6 days, I was changing my shirt 2 or 3 times in the night. And I had to wash my sheets every other day because I was just sweating so much. And I kept drinking as much water as I could. And I kept just being really fatigued, really tired, sleeping like 18 hours a day. I'd sleep 12 hours in the night. I'd wake up for 3 hours, go back to sleep, wake up for a couple hours, go back to sleep. And I just couldn't stay awake. Obviously, I got a library behind me and I read often. But during that 11-day span of being feverish, I just didn't feel like reading, which is really unusual of me. And so some of the other symptoms that I suffered during that time was the chills and the fever, the being really hot, really cold, had some body aches, had some joint pain, which was unusual. Like I've had fevers in the past where I'd be out for 5 days and suffering some of those symptoms, but I never had the joint pain. until the COVID-19. My balls were really angry at me, my testicles. They were like trying to run away from my body because my body was so hot. My eyes were burning because my body was so hot. And my bowel movements were kind of like restricted. Every time that I went, it was just like really hard to go. I wasn't really constipated, but it was like not very much. And then I started having like kidney pain real bad. I'd go to urinate and it'd be just super painful in my lower back on the left side. And then that all just kind of went away. And then the fatigue stayed for a while, but after about day 11 and the fever stopped, most of the symptoms stopped. One of the symptoms that I still have is I don't know if it's a nerve in my elbow and in my shoulder, my left elbow, my right shoulder, or what it is, but like it, if I stretch it to its capacity or I move it in a certain way, it just really, really hurts. And it didn't hurt before the COVID-19 and it does now. So I don't know what it is. It doesn't seem like a muscle pain. It doesn't seem um like a sprain or anything like that, but it definitely hurts a lot. And then I'd say during the 3 days that I've been back to work, luckily we only worked 10 hours, no overtime, and then had the Thanksgiving break, Thursday and Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Um, I felt really fatigued at work. Like it was hard to get back into that mode, but I still worked as hard as I could, did the best that I could. And it was just like, I'm so glad to be off because I don't want to give more because I don't think I have more. And so I was really grateful to only work 10 hours for 3 days rather than 11, 12 hours for 4 or 5 days. And so I'm sure next week we'll be back to lots of overtime at work and we'll see how that goes. But I I guess I just don't feel back to normal. And I see these things that say COVID or coronavirus disease, and I am really confused about, did I get a virus? Do I now have a disease? Like what's really going on inside of my body? And it's been over 3 weeks now. And so I don't think I'm still contagious. They told me I could go back to work after the 14-day quarantine was over. But then there's people that are like, stay away from me. I don't want what you have. And I'm like, I don't think I have it anymore. And so there's still lots of questions to be answered. There's still probably some recovery to go through to rebuild myself. During that time of being sick, I tried to work out every day. There were some days where I could only do 3 push-ups because I was just like so exhausted. I could only do a plank for like 10 seconds, which are both very, very low compared to what I normally do. And so each day I tried to do a little bit more and I tried to do it multiple times a day. And so a couple suggestions I would say to sanitize often. Through the Life Super app, you can get this Gold Shield. It's a non-alcohol based hand sanitizer and it protects your hands up to 8 hours at a time. And it smells like grape, so it doesn't smell bad. It's really awesome. So sanitize often, wash your hands often, eat healthy, exercise regularly, and I would definitely say try not to get the COVID-19 because it sucks. I know some people got it; they just had a couple sniffles and maybe a headache for a day. Oh, that's another symptom that I had. I had really bad headaches, especially like behind my ears, and that all went away after I was done with the fever. So the other thing I would suggest is don't get it, but if you do, then each day that you're sick, try to do a little bit of exercise. Try to be active in some way. Try to get yourself moving because I think Newton's law says object in motion tends to stay in motion. So don't just sit down, lay down, and just stop for 2 weeks. Try to keep going because it's going to make the recovery easier. I believe. I might be wrong. I am not a doctor. I'm not a professional with anything. So I'm just sharing my perspective and my thoughts, and I hope they're helpful to you. And my prayer is that you don't get the virus, that the virus is wiped out from our earth soon, and that you're all very safe and healthy. And my condolences go to the people that lost their loved ones. My prayer is that we get our strength from Jesus. That was one of the things that I never relented on, was I read the Bible every day. I did Bible plans on the YouVersion Bible app, and I prayed, and I had faith that Jesus would bring me through this. And I believe that if you have faith in Jesus, then you'll be able to overcome anything that you face. I know my friend Walter, he's gotten cancer 14 times and he's beat it every time. And his faith today is stronger than ever. Some people may be saying, why me? Why do I have to keep getting cancer? Why does God hate me? But he doesn't have that mindset. He says, I'm going to overcome it because of Jesus, because God loves me. And I believe that's a testimony rather than victim mentality. And so we can all choose, do I want to be a victim or do I want to be a victor? It's, I want you to wear the hat of the champion, not the shoes of a victim. And I believe in you. I love you. I'll see you at the top, so I'll see you real soon.